Hello, Money Magnet. So good to see you. Thank you for being here today. We're looking at the daily chart of the SPY, and we do have a situation here. Now, looking at the 15-minute chart, you can see that not much happened. As a matter of fact, nothing really happened. And we can see on the daily chart, we have ourselves one of those doji candles. And this is coming after we had a pretty nice green day yesterday. We have ourselves a big body green candle, two candles, very interesting two candles here, because I'm wondering, are we going to get an evening star pattern or are we going to get a bullish continuation? If you've been watching my content for some time, you know when I see dojis, the way that I trade them is I like to watch the range of the doji, and I'm looking at it, and the range is at 633.99 up to 636.15. So I love my whole numbers, my even whole numbers. So I'm gonna say that the chop range for tomorrow is 634 to 636. So we're gonna keep it quite simple, and I do expect a big move tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be to the upside or to the downside. That's why we need to watch this range. If SPY drops below 634 tomorrow, we could have ourselves an evening star pattern playing out. And if that is the case, you notice the evening star pattern on the third candle ends up being a big body red candle. Here's another example right here where it explains it, but the third candle is usually a big red candle. But if it's not an evening star pattern and we take out the high, we take out that 636 level, I'm favoring we head up to new all-time high. Good chance we head up to the 637.6 level, or we go hit the 640 level. But either way, even though I'm not sure if we're going to be bullish or bearish tomorrow, I know the range to watch, and I'm highly confident that tomorrow's going to be a very nice tradable day. Today was not a tradable day because of how choppy it was, but tomorrow I'm confident that it won't be choppy, and it's important for us to keep it simple. If we're below 634, it's a good chance the evening star is going to play out, and we could get anywhere from a $3 to $6 move to the downside. And if we're above 636, we can get anywhere from $1.50 to a $4 or $5 move to new all-time highs. Here's QQQ. Have to watch out for a potential double top here, and also there's always the chance an M pattern could play out based on the low of July 22nd. But you see not once, but twice, that 566 level held as resistance. There is sell orders up there, possibly even some liquidity above there, but that's the level to watch, 566. If QQQ clears that level and turns 566 into support successfully, we're heading up to new all-time highs, 568, 570 plus. But if this double top truly plays out, we need to see first 564.8 fail as support. We technically got the higher close, and we technically also took out the mother candle's high. So this technically is a bullish close. If it stays above 564.8 and clear 566, it's bullish follow through. But if we drop below 566.8 and we drop below 563, it's pullback time, and it's also a false breakout based on the mother candle's high, and losing 563 would send us back below the 5 DMA, which is what the bears really need the charts to reflect. Because like I always say, when the ticker symbol is bullish, they spend majority of the time above or bouncing off the 5 DMA. So and today it happened again. So it needs to drop below 563 and turn it to resistant and send us down to 560 and 558.5 or much lower. Here is Tesla, still overall looking bearish, and we did lose that 309.3 fib level, so still looking bearish. And I'm telling you, if we continue to drop down, break down 304, we're likely heading down to 300 next, then 297 and 295.5. I would not trust any bounce unless we can recapture the lost levels that we lost today, starting with 308 and 309.3. If we can recapture those, maybe we can go back test the 5 DMA around the 313-ish area, but it will not start. I would not trust the start of a bounce unless 309.3 can recapture. And for a further bounce, we need to recapture the 5 DMA. I'm looking at a 6 hour. Let me look at the daily chart here, and it is very extended, far away from that 5 daily moving average. So it needs to catch up. So we'll see if we get a back test, but I will not trust no bounce unless 309.3 can recapture. Otherwise, we are heading down lower. NVDA going for the bounce. It did not manage to clear the last pivot high around 174, but it did manage to recapture 171 and 172.5. Bulls are trying, but if there is going to be more upside tomorrow, once again, 174 must clear to send us to new all-time highs, and it would also negate any potential double top, which are bearish patterns. So the bulls really need to clear 174 for multiple reasons, because if they reject here and they break down 172.5 and they break down 171, and if yes, even the 169 level, there's a good chance we go hit the low of July 22nd candle, which is all the way down at 164.5. We have to be careful that an M pattern does not play out, because if we take out the low of this red candle, it's a high chance the M pattern can play out and it could be nasty against the bulls. Here is coin, still overall looking bearish to me. Did manage to gap up, but remember, the 5 DMA usually stays pretty close to the candles. There be times where the price can get extended, pretty extended, far from that moving average, but then it retraces. What happens on the retrace, the back test, is important. We can see today that when it retraced back, they were still selling pressure. So this chart, to me, is still reflecting bearish behavior. So for there to be bearish follow through for tomorrow, today it closed at 396.7. It's gapping up a little bit. I still have support at 397, 395 in the critical fib level, which held today at 393.3. If coin can break down those levels, I would feel more confident in favoring more downside, at least another $11 to $20 move to the downside. Yes, you heard that right, because coin is super volatile. But if there is a bounce to be had, I cannot trust the bounce unless the price action behavior reflects that to me, which means it must recapture lost levels. Today we lost 399 in the critical fib level, or we maintained the loss of 399 in the critical fib level of 400.34. So once again, like I said yesterday, I will not trust the bounce unless we can recapture those levels to put 406 in play. That's a fib level, but it's also around where the 5 DMA is. Like I always say, when price action is bullish, they spend majority of the time above that 5 DMA. Right now, that's not the case. So they must recapture 406, 410, and 411.6, which is my other fib levels. And then I would trust some bullish continuation. But right now, it's not looking bullish. And if it continues to be bearish, 397, 395, and 393.3 must fail. And last but certainly not least, here is IWM with the false breakout setup. We had this triangle pattern. We cleared it yesterday. It was a beautiful breakout, but 225 had to hold as support for the breakout to be intact. As you can see, that was not the case. They also attempted a gap fill. Did not quite fill the gap, but they certainly went for it. And to make it official, they really need to drop down lower, down to 223. But if there is bearish follow through, if this is more than just a gap fill, for this false breakout to show follow through, 223 must fail tomorrow, and it should send us in theory all the way back down to the 218-ish area, which is the bottom of the triangle pattern. And of course below that would be very bearish because it's a breakdown. Now once again, this is a false breakout setup, which tells us this market can be very trappy, and traps can be countered by other traps. So if this was just a gap fill, and market makers plan on setting IWM back to the upside, 225 must recapture for the false breakdown setup to trigger calls for us to enter calls, and the odds of 227 and 230 hitting will be much higher. Now that the traps have been sprung, the odds will be higher. So thank you so much for being here. I hope that I was able to help you out, give you some value, bring you some peace, bring you some assurance, anything. Whatever I was able to do, I hope it was something positive, because you definitely did something positive for me, which is being here and giving me a chance. That means a lot. Thank you. Peace.